Sammy Wilson from the DUP. First of all, those letters from the presidents of the EU and the European Commission. Are you reassured at all about their suggestion, and they're reiterating that the backstop solution, they don't want it, and if it ever came into force it would be temporary?
Well, you know, I think that anyone who has looked at the history of these negotiations would see how transparently dishonest that response from the EU is. They've spent 2 years negotiating an agreement. They have 585 pages of legalese to ensure that there's no loopholes by which the EU or the UK can escape from the terms of the backstop. And they then said that this has to be the basis of any future relationship with the EU, and if that future relationship does not suit the EU, then they will not release the UK from the backstop. Now, you know, all of that, I think, shows that the words of Donald Tusk in this letter are totally meaningless, and anybody who would take them as a guarantee or as an assurance would really be very foolish.
What about this idea that Parliament could say it would agree to Theresa May's deal, but on the proviso that the backstop solution would expire on the 31st of December 2021? This is an amendment that's gone down. It's put down by a Conservative. Is that something the DUP would consider?
Well, you know, again, you've got to consider the nature of this agreement. This agreement will be between the EU and the UK. The amendment would only be a commitment by the UK government that it would expect the backstop to stop or to end in.
It would show the EU what would be required, well, and then you could ask the EU to move.
But the EU already know what's required. I mean, any EU negotiator will have steeped themselves in what is said in these debates, what has been said by spokespersons from different parties and different sections of different parties, etc. They do not need an amendment in the House of Commons to show what is required.
So you wouldn't consider voting for that?
No, we wouldn't. And because first of all, if it's only to give a signal to the EU, they know what's required. And secondly, any commitment would be a one-sided commitment, a commitment made by one party to the agreement, but not binding on the other party. What would be binding on both of them would be the terms of the withdrawal agreement, internationally agreed, if it went through this House tomorrow.
And just finally, on a no confidence vote, if it comes, Jeremy Corbyn says it will come soon if Theresa May's deal is voted down. What is your thinking about that? Are you prepared to try and trigger a general election?
I mean, we have made it quite clear we don't want to change the Prime Minister, we don't want to change the government, we want to change the policy which is being pursued by the government at present to make sure that it coincides with the views of the people of the United Kingdom in the referendum. So if this agreement is turned down tomorrow, we will have no reason not to have confidence in the government. We will want then to see the government going back to Europe and negotiating with a bit of beef in their negotiations to ensure that we get the right deal for the United Kingdom, and that's what we'll be pushing the Prime Minister to do.
Okay. Sammy Wilson.